Okay, so for today's video, I'm just going to be talking about what I use to shoot with and also what lenses I use and what I use to edit on. I asked you guys on Twitter if you had any questions for me, and this was the first one that I got, and this is a question that I get all the time, but I've never made a proper video. So that's going to be this video, but I'm gonna try to get through it as quickly as possible. It's gonna just kind of be bare bones, just like the basics, and hopefully it's helpful, especially if you're just starting out or if you're just kind of curious about what to start shooting your YouTube videos on, or if you want to start making shorts and stuff. So right now I'm using my vlogging camera. It's just on my tripod. It's a Canon G7X Mark II, and this is what I throw in my bag before I leave the house, and it's what I've been vlogging on for the most part this week, and I actually use this all the time. And it's really easy to travel with because it's so compact, and there's a little flip screen so I can see myself. It's like the perfect vlogging camera. I'm sure most YouTubers actually probably have this. So this one is the one that I use the most. Otherwise, I'll probably just use my phone, and I have an iPhone 8. And yeah, I actually use that a ton. It's the easiest and most convenient, and I think they're totally underrated. There's a whole movie shot on an iPhone. I think it was the iPhone 5 or 5S or something like that, and it's called Tangerine. I'm sure a bunch of you have seen it already, but yeah, a whole movie shot on an iPhone, which is really cool. So I think they're totally underrated. And as far as film goes, I started experimenting with Super 8 like a year and a half ago, and the camera that I have is the Canon AutoZoom 814. This is so heavy and big, and they have much smaller Super 8 cameras, but this is the one that I use to shoot all of my Super 8 films on. And as far as 16mm goes, we usually just rent out those cameras. Okay, so I do have a DSLR. I did have the Canon 70D, but I think I dropped it one too many times, and the screen is now just shot. And I think it's going to cost me as much as I got the camera for to repair it. Now the DSLR that I use is the Canon T7i. If you're just starting out with photography or shooting video, the Rebel series is kind of like your user-friendly DSLR camera. The first DSLR that I had when I started making videos was the Canon T3i, so now I have a T7i, which is cool. It's kind of like full circle. Okay, so this is a Tokina lens. This is so heavy, so it's not ideal to travel with, but it's really good in lower light situations, and it gives you a really wide angle. It's a wide angle lens, so you get to see more of your space. It's not cropped. I don't know like proper terminology when it comes to cameras and lenses and all that stuff, so I'm just, yeah, I'm doing the best that I can. So this one I used to shoot my Urban Outfitters Oh Hi Beauty video on. If you want a reference as to how this one looks or how it performs, it's the Urban Outfitters video. This is what I used to shoot inside of the bathroom and also outside with Violet. So this is probably my favorite lens. This is a 35mm lens, and this one does really well in low light too, but this is what I took with me to Japan for the first time, and it's what I used when I was shooting at night. And yeah, it's more compact, so it's easier to travel with than say the one I just showed you. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it, but this is probably my favorite lens. Generally what people end up spending most of their money on is lenses, so it's not so much about the camera body, but more so what lenses you use. And I have a few other lenses, like I have a 40mm lens, and I think I only bought that because that's the lens that Christine uses in her videos, and that's a pancake lens. It's like really flat. I have that one. I have a 50mm lens, and those are really reasonably priced. I think they're like $125 or something like that, and they're really lightweight, so it's easy to travel with as well. And then I think I have a few other ones, but yeah, the two that I showed you are the ones that I use most. And as far as editing goes, I just have a 13-inch MacBook Pro that I've had for 5 years that I use, and I have Final Cut Pro 10 on that, and that's what I use. When I first started making videos, I would just use the little webcam camera in my computer, and I would put it in iMovie, slap some text on it, and upload it. And iMovie is what I started learning how to edit on, and I believe the first video I edited was in 8th grade, and I think we used iMovie. So yeah, I've kind of been making videos for a while. I would make videos of my sister and I when I was in middle school, and then in high school I would make videos of my friends and I. And then I started working at the Apple store, and I started using Final Cut Pro 10, and that's what I've been using for the past few years. And I know Final Cut like the back of my hand, so I just recently started learning Adobe Premiere. I'm slowly trying to move into that space. Yeah, and I remember when I switched over to Final Cut, it was like looking at it looked so intimidating. It looked like the gif of the guy who's like looking around and he has all those like math equations going around. That's what Final Cut looked like to me. So a lot of you ask like what effect I used or how I did something, and honestly it's just playing around and figuring it out. And it's going to take lots of time and lots of practice, but I believe that you learn by doing. And yeah, video editing is just super cool and super fun. So I have an iPad mini, and that's what I use to doodle all of my like handwritten things on. And I use the apps Paper and Procreate, which is a terrible name for an app, but that's what it's called. Procreate, you have more options as far as like brushes and effects and stuff, and like layers, you know, you can get like really intricate with it. So that one's more intense than Paper, but Paper's super cool. I don't even know if Procreate is free, but Paper for sure is, and Paper's really fun. I use it all the time still. But yeah, those are the things that I shoot on and shoot with, and what I edit with. So I hope that that was somewhat helpful. I know it's like very basic, and I'm not really getting into much detail, but there's just like so much that I could say or like get into more specifically. I think I could be here all day talking about this stuff. But if you have any more questions for me, I'll try and answer them in the comments. But yeah, that's it. That's today's vlog. Thank you so much for all of your love and like overwhelming support for this whole like 30-day vlog challenge. I really, really appreciate it. I'm super excited to make these videos for you guys. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching them. I'm gonna cry. Okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm so tired. Okay, I'll see you in tomorrow's vlog. Bye.